Hello everyone, in lieu of Flo's first TV performance on Kimmel, I wanted to give an update on my thoughts on the group. Since Cardboard Box dropped in March, it has garnered 10 plus million streams. They've gotten more co-signs from people like Brandy, Kelly, and Missy Elliott. They were being mentioned in more publications and they were having more interviews. They've also got a slew of collaborations with major music networks like Vivo and Apple Music. And then the Jimmy performance that just passed, pretty good TV debut. Of course, I'm glad the girls are being pushed stateside, but it makes me very weary. With all the push they're getting here, I wonder if they will inadvertently alienate their UK home base. The UK, after all, is more hospitable to girl groups. Will the girls be able to focus on both demos, or will they buckle under the attempt? Let's get into it. First off, let me say I'm a huge fan of these girls. That's why I'm making this video. When I like something, I like to analyze or critique it. So don't get it twisted. Okay, so let's get into the group's marketing a little bit. When I put out my first video, the girls were mainly focused on garnering traction in the UK. The group was formed in late 2019, and at that time, they didn't have much competition other than Little Mix. At that time, Little Mix were on their last legs. Their latest LP, LM5, wasn't as successful as their previous album, Glory Days, for a variety of reasons. One of which was the group's conflict with Simon Cowell. Having broken away from his label, it hindered their album success. So when 2019 rolls around, the group was working on a lot of projects that were going to be pushed out for the next year in 2020. But all plans were thwarted when the panorama hit. The girls' competition show The Search was hindered greatly, and if it wasn't for their strong fan base, the music would have suffered the same fate. The girls did make it out on top with their last #1 single, Sweet Melody, at the start of 2021. Good news for fans that since the group announced the departure of the fourth member, Jessie Nelson, in late 2020. The group released their greatest hits album, Between Us, in November of 2021, and soon after announced their hiatus. Little Mix's hiatus left a huge void in the UK girl group landscape, something that hadn't happened in 30 years. It with no real successor, Flo was primed to take their place, especially since they were working with one of their mega producers, M&EK. Months after Little Mix announced their hiatus, the group Flo released their single Cardboard Box under Island Records UK in March. And y'all, the song went viral. In its first month, it was streamed at 10 million times. And I knew it was very popular, especially on Black Twitter. Like, they were buzzing about this song. Months later in May, I found out that the group had signed to Republic Records, and I'm assuming they signed it through Uptown to get to Republic. They made some type of deal, something like that. I figured it was true since I saw the girls on a New York trip going to Republic Records in New York in August. So I'm thinking, okay, so they're making moves. Around this time, the girls did their Vivo Discover live performances, and they were collabing with Apple Music, doing their Next Up series. So I was like, oh wow, so they're really getting pushed out here stateside. They did a documentary with Apple. They also released their latest single, Not My Job, like 2 weeks ago. And they added that track to the latest edition of their EP. It was a deluxe edition of the lead, which kind of pissed me off because I bought the original edition of the lead. How do you make a deluxe edition of an EP? Tell me how that makes sense. But whatever. The track is fire. When they dropped Not My Job with the latest deluxe edition, it actually started to trend on Twitter. And I think as of now, the single has gotten over 100,000 streams. And of course, the girls just finished up their TV debut performance on Kimmel, so you can see how the girls are being pushed out here. No doubt aided by Republic Records, but what's interesting to me is how much they're focusing on America compared to the UK. When they first released Cardboard Box, they started out doing live performances in the UK, and I figured they'd just be over there doing more promo, but months later they came over here for promo, and that got me perplexed, because most of their fan base is in the UK. Per Spotify, I saw there were 1.3 million listeners, and I saw where they were located. A majority of them are from Great Britain, and the third place is from LA. Funny enough. Not too bad, but if the majority of your listeners are in the UK, why focus on America during your debut era? Well, I speculated multiple answers to this question. And potential answer number 1, America is the biggest music market in the world. If you find that you have a notable presence here, you should capitalize on it. The industry is already tough enough to break in as it is. So if you have a foot into another market besides your domestic one and you're doing well enough, why not try to take advantage of it in both industries? Possible answer number 2, breaking into the American market makes it easier to break into international markets. So maybe Flo thinks if they are successful in cracking America, it ensures that they are a success back home, abroad, and more. Though the trick is to be able to crack the US. And while they attempt to do that, they also have to try to hold on to their home base. And this was also a big issue with Little Mix. That's primarily why they focused on the UK rather than doing both. So this is a crucial trying period. America in general isn't hospitable to groups like the UK. The UK seems to cherish girl groups. They have a long history and a legacy with them. It seems like every decade there's a new group that's giving like a national title. But in America, groups don't last long. We are more individualistic over here. It seems that when a group is successful, we try to tear them apart, or even in the industry, they try to tear groups apart in a more aggressive way compared to the UK. Fifth Harmony, Ring Any Bells, TLC was also approached multiple times in the industry to split up. Destiny's Child also had those Beyonce rumors splitting up the group. Something similar happened to Chloe and Halle. One of the biggest reasons why people don't want to invest in groups, that's probably really prevalent to today compared to the past, is that groups are too costly. Labels today are barely shelling out money for soloists. You think they want to invest in female groups? Bigger glam squads, longer shoot times, more money for fashion, multiple looks for each girl? And not to mention, people probably don't want to be in a group because the money is being split multiple ways if you get paid anything. So I hope these girls are successful at the balancing act that they need to do in keeping the UK and US audiences, because you have to be relatable to both demos. And yes, they garner a Black audience, but we have cultural differences, socio-political differences happening on both ends, and to maneuver between these two things, they're very tricky. Their music would have to resonate on both sides too. Right now, it's mainly relatable content, love, and struggling relationships, but they're gonna need something more to get further ahead. So that's all that I have for today. Please comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.